Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our newest DTM, Terry Kozlik. He will be up here to introduce our moderator, Terry Kozlik.
Your moderator for this afternoon, Angie Hung, another average person like all of us, right? She loves education, dance, jumping, landing safely, Lego, toys, train, travel, acting, gymnastics, inspiring others, smelling glossy magazines, public speaking, her friends, family, and some of her coworkers. Watch out, because she also loves pranking others with her dry sense of humor. When not doing way too much in her life, Angie enjoys her alone time. That includes eating, reading, and catching up on sleep. And she lives by the motto, never assume there's going to be a tomorrow. That being said, she has multiple to-do lists that will last her until age 150. She's friendly and includes everybody and admires that trait in others. She's loved all the Pecha Kucha she's attended to date and was fortunate to present at one back in June 2016. She's especially enjoyed using this as an excuse to show a shirtless picture of Zac Efron and a gorgeous picture she took of the Spice Girls. Almost. Space Girls? Any smaller and this would be on microfiche. She loves to see and hear all the different interpretations of each Pecha Kucha theme. So please help me in welcoming Angie Hung.
Thank you for that introduction, Terry. How's everyone doing today? How's everyone doing this afternoon? Are you as excited and thrilled and curious to hear some amazing Pecha Kucha speeches this afternoon? Yes? Woo! And this is the shining moment for Toastmasters, because it's probably one of the only moments where you do not have to care about green, yellow, and red. You don't have to freak out because the green light has not come on, and you don't have to freak out again when the red light comes on so quickly after the yellow. I have had the pleasure of attending many Pecha Kuchas, and it really is fascinating that different people can take on different themes so differently, and I like the different perspectives that people give. Our speakers today have prepared amazingly, and because of that, we need to make sure that we give them, even when we're sitting in our seats, our energy, our full attention, our curiosity, our time. So make sure that our only focus is on our speakers today. Okay, are you all with me today? Okay. So just to make sure that all the speakers are aware, I'm going to say their introduction in full, and then I'm going to say their name, their speech title, their name, and we can all clap as they come up on stage. I'm then going to let the speakers indicate to Joanne. Where are you, Joanne? Can you stand up, Joanne? Joanne, can you stand up? Because when you're sitting down, we can't see you. Thank you. And you can indicate to Joanne when you're ready. Any questions from the speakers? All right, I look forward to hearing you and seeing you. Joanne, you ready? All right. Our first speaker is Shelley Goldbeck. Shelley Goldbeck, distinguished Toastmaster, thinker, writer, speaker, and serial entrepreneur, building an empire which includes book publishing, speech, coaching, and speaking businesses. Shelley won the District 42 Herb Ashley Vice President Public Relations Award in 2012 and 2013, and she was the District 42 Area Director of the Year in 2015. Shelley believes the world would be a better place if everyone completed a competent communicator manual. Shelley Goldbeck, Take my hand. Take my hand, Shelley Goldbeck.
In the 1990s, New York Mayor Rudolph Giuliani reduced crime and transformed neighborhoods by having broken windows repaired in abandoned buildings. They found that broken windows say, "I don't care." Little things matter when you're in front of the group, on stage, and in life. A little thing like how you hold yourself matters. Good posture, head held high, move with purpose, dress for success. It's all part of how people think of you and what they expect from you, your brand promise. Many people don't know what to do with their hands. From left to right, we have the clasp, the crotch clasp, and what I call handcuffed. All clues to your anxiety. Hold them like Steve on the bottom so that your hands are available for gestures. When I joined Toastmasters, I struggled to shed filler words. Then Peter Arnold, my mentor, suggested I get comfortable with silence. I realized that filler words hold space better held by silence. And magically, I stopped. Let's get comfortable with silence for about 20 seconds. How did that feel? Were you uncomfortable? Where was your mind? Were you tempted to talk? Practice being silent. It's a little thing that's big. Few people really listen. I've learned to seal my lips and smile to open my ears when I listen. I look at the person who's talking, and I'm careful not to think about what I'm going to say next. Here's another listening tip. Remove distractions. They might be little things, but cell phones compete for your attention. Turn them off. Here's a great new feature you might not know about. Every text, email, alert, tweet, and call is waiting for you when you return. Listen to your audience. Hopefully you got to know them before you began preparing your speech. Hopefully what you say matters to them. Are they laughing? Don't step on the laugh. Are they fidgeting? It's time to mix it up. Your voice is your instrument. Treat it like you would a $10,000 cello. Avoid consuming dairy before speaking. Sip lemon water to keep your vocal cords elastic. Take voice lessons. One vital little thing is eye contact. And here's a trick. Focus on one person for each line of your presentation. Your audience will feel like they're having a conversation. And if you're very wise, you've met some of the members of the audience and you have allies. Talk to them. Like the Beatles said, all you need is love. Leading with the heart is crucial. It affects your choice of words and how you deliver. And believe me, the audience can feel love from the stage. How do you convey love? Well, start by living it every day. Perform random acts of kindness. Volunteer. Encourage each other. One Toastmaster told me, but for my words of encouragement, she was ready to quit. Little things. Use interesting words. Now, here's a tip. Instead of walking, you can use strolling, ambling, plodding, careening, striding, or shuffling. There's no excuse for boring. Where do you find those words? Read. The common denominator of successful speakers and leaders is that they read. My personal goal is 2 books a week, but 1 a month is a really good start. Newsletters and blogs will do, as long as you feed your mind. Craft interesting stories. People learn best through stories. My advice, make a point. Tell a relevant story. And then help your audience apply that point to their lives. Britain's Prime Minister during World War II, Winston Churchill, is known as an exceptional orator. He rehearsed 1 hour for every minute of his speech. Each and every word was carefully selected and delivered. To deliver like Winston, put in the work, rehearse. When you're at the front of the room, you're a leader, like it or not. And I've learned that something will go wrong. I've not been part of a perfect presentation yet. The projector is fried. Oh well, your speech can stand on its own 2 feet. You must be agile. Like a tightrope walker, ever making small adjustments. Your 30-minute talk is now 20. Oh well, you've prepared it in 5 to 7-minute chunks, so throw a couple out and go. Presenting requires a constant pursuit of balance. Toastmasters is where adults go to play make-believe. While we play, we learn all these little things with warm, supportive people just like the ones in this room. Little things matter in how you are perceived and how your message is received. Pay attention to the broken windows.
Did you all get some good lessons out of that? I especially liked Shelley's use of 20 seconds of silence because not only does it give us time to actually appreciate the moment, but it also helps us realize how long 20 seconds can be. Before I move on to our next speaker, I wanted to explain something which I should have explained at the very beginning. The format of Pecha Kucha is the same for everyone. They have chosen 20 slides, and each slide will be shown for exactly 20 seconds. The challenge there is timing what you're saying or what you're not saying and making sure that your speech still aligns correctly with the slides. Moving on to speaker number 2. Our speaker number 2 is Alexander Jameson. As with everyday communication, a lasting first impression is vital in a speech. Today, Alexander Jameson is going to share some of his strategies to delivering an impactful introduction. It's time to get back to basics in our speech crafting. Alexander Jameson, lasting first impressions. Lasting first impressions. Alexander Jameson.
Hopefully, this is not going to be any of you during my speech today. I know you've just had lunch. Fellow Toastmasters, have you ever listened to a speech that was so captivating in its initial moments that you are more interested in checking your phone. God forbid checking out a funny cat video on Facebook. As soon as we take that stage, the clock is ticking. We have a short time window to make a good first impression. We have a duty as a speaker to pull in the audience and make them want more of you and your speech topic. However, sometimes in a speaker development, we get ahead of ourselves. We're excited. We want to do some of the more advanced speeches in the CC manual, working with visual aids, or we want to tell an inspiring story that hopefully will touch some hearts. We need to get back to basics. Not your ABCs, but your IBCs. Introduction, body, conclusion. Remember Project 2 in your CC manual? It was quite a while for some of you, I'm sure. Today is all about the power of a great, effective introduction. I will share some of my strategies on delivering a memorable introduction. Essentially, an effective introduction has two main things. It grabs the attention of the audience and it gets them curious in the subject matter and you. I think I got her attention. She was curious about something. I wonder what. Allow me to share some ways to get the attention and the curiosity of the audience that don't involve exposing oneself. Imagery is a great way to start the speech and get the attention of the audience. Poor old Kermit. This was me a few nights ago preparing for my speech. A funny image can break the ice, especially if the topic is of a serious nature. Talking of serious nature, how about an image like this? This will definitely get the curiosity of the audience. An image that has shock value will really add to your presentation, but just make sure it's appropriate for the listeners. A beautiful image like this can be very effective at drawing in the audience. You can imagine an image like this being used for an inspirational speech. Are you smelling the flowers and taking in the beautiful views on your chosen life path? As well as imagery, a video can be very effective at drawing in and pulling in the audience. A video with shock value will definitely make a great way to start a powerful presentation. Just make sure the video isn't too long and make sure your equipment is obviously working well in advance of your speech. Humor is a great way to start any speech. Obviously, make sure the jokes are clean. Example, Scots are well known for their long pockets and their short arms. Today, I'm going to talk about and prove that this is all true. You see the twist there? On the flip side of humor, a startling statement is another great way to raise some eyebrows. Again, with imagery, we need to make sure it's appropriate for the audience. An example, on average, a Toastmaster will retain 5% of the speech that they've just heard. Who doesn't love a great quote to start off a speech, especially if it's taken from Braveheart? They may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom. Have you picked up on the Scottish theme yet today? The use of a story, especially a personal one, is another great way to begin a speech. With drama, colorful imagery, language, vivid words, a story can really draw us in. Now, hopefully, the international speech contests in the room today are taking note. We've got the attention, we've got the curiosity of the audience. It's time to tease them. We don't want to give too much away regarding the speech topic. For example, don't say something like, today I'm going to share my 3 success tips: clarity, focus, and support. I think our test speaker gave away too much today at the evaluation. As speakers, we have lots of ways of opening and starting our speech. Humor, imagery, videos, startling statements, quotations, possibly some kilt lifting. Do what feels right for you. It's your speech. Practice makes perfect. As with the great game of golf, we need to hone in our skill of giving an introduction. It's like taking your stance before you take a swing at golf. Please take the time to develop something really special and ask for support if you really need some advice. Project 2, again, in our CC manual, talks about memorizing your introduction and your conclusion. Please take the time. Your introduction is important. Take the time to memorize in front of a mirror, in front of a family, a friend, and so on. My final piece of advice today is all about imagine yourself strutting the stage, delivering that powerful introduction, feeling relaxed, confident, dressed sharp, and building on that introduction to deliver an amazing speech that will receive huge applause. Like a house, a great speech requires a good foundation. That good foundation is an introduction that gives a lasting first impression. Now you can check your phone and watch that funny cat video.
Getting a lot of exercise here. Again, another presentation where we learned some valuable lessons. However, I think the lesson I learned is that I have never actually drank a lot before preparing for a speech, but apparently, according to that Kermit the Frog picture, it works. So that's something new that I'm going to try today. Our third speaker is Susan Kramer. Toastmaster since 2003, current Vice President, Public Relations of MVP Advanced, and spreader of the benefits of Toastmasters everywhere, Susan Kramer, distinguished Toastmaster, is no stranger to writing speeches. Today, she's going to share with us some of the techniques she's mastered and others she's observed over the years. Join me in welcoming Susan to share her Pecha Kucha entitled Winning Words for Stunning Speeches. Susan Kramer, winning words for stunning speeches. Winning words for stunning speeches, Susan Kramer. Now you can go. Yay.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Paint a picture to help your audience see in their mind's eye what you're seeing in yours. Vivid word choices invoke the imagination of your audience and help draw them into your story. In the next 6 minutes and 2 seconds, I'm going to persuade you to use more winning words in your speeches. Use vivid words to write for the ear. We sometimes forget that when people listen to us speak live, they can't press rewind and listen again. We have to get it right the first time. It's okay to be less formal and more repetitive with the spoken word. Use vivid words to excite the senses, like smell and taste. Close your eyes and listen. Strolling through the busy bakery, we could smell the sinfully sumptuous sweets hidden within. Okay, open your eyes. Did your mouth start to water? Writing for the senses can help pull your audience into your story. Use vivid words for colors. Ditch the old primary color standbys of red, blue, and green and use a paint wheel to develop colors in more detail. Use violet, lilac, or indigo to describe the juicy grapes ripening on the vine. Use vivid words to invoke emotion. Tell a personal story to touch the heart of your audience. Make them feel what you felt, whether it's scared, mad, or sad. No was the hardest lesson to teach my 2-year-old glass half full, always smiling daughter. It broke my heart when her baby blues brimmed with tears. To recap, use vivid words that are concrete to engage your audience's senses. Concrete words describe actual experiences, things, or events. They are specific, real, and tangible. Use concrete, vivid words to describe things that you hear, smell, taste, touch, and feel. Statistics can help add realism, emotional impact, and credibility to your speech. For example, rather than say 33% of the population in North America, say 1 in 3 people in this room. Not only will your statistic be more memorable, but it will allow your audience to feel like they are part of it. Verb tenses set the timing in your speech. Use was or did for past tense to speak of yesterday. Use will or shall for future tense to speak of tomorrow. And use am or is for present tense to talk about right now. I did go shopping because I am hungry and I will need to eat soon. Simple isn't just a 10-point Scrabble word. It's also the approach to adopt when selecting the words to put into your speech. The simpler the language you use, the easier it is for your audience to digest your message. Watch out for complicated multisyllabic words like multisyllabic. Watch your language and keep it clean. No cussing, using the Lord's name in vain, or stating your point in an offensive manner. Even implying an unacceptable word using sounds, acronyms, or gestures can accidentally offend. And one offended audience member can do more damage to your reputation than 100 happy ones. Watch for jargon and fashionable buzzwords. Use specialized terminology only when speaking to people who are familiar with it. If you must use jargon, take the time to explain it with words that everyone can understand. For example, for utilize, say use, and for operational, say working. Making small changes like using more meaningful statistics personalized to your audience, using tense wisely to set the stage for timing, and using simple, clean, jargon-free words will give your audience a better chance to enjoy your message. Remember, short words, short phrases, and short paragraphs. If you were to say, I'm experiencing a roller coaster of emotions, what you'd really be saying is you're going through a lot of emotional ups and downs right now. This is an example of a rhetorical device called a metaphor. A metaphor compares two things that are not alike but have something in common. Similes are another rhetorical device. They compare two things using like or as to give more visual emphasis to the thing that you're describing. The sharp turns of the highway climb the mountain like a snake slithering up the slope. The human-made highway is compared to a nature-born snake. Alliterations are a rhetorical device where the initial sounds in words or the stressed syllables repeat in a memorable way. Here we could say, Larry's lazy lizard loves lying like a lump. All those L-sounding words aside, we also heard repetition with the Z sounds in lazy lizard. Too much fun. Use words economically. We just covered 3 rhetorical devices. The metaphor to compare two things, the simile to compare two things using like or as, and the alliteration with lots of similar sounding sounds in a row. Sprinkle rhetorical devices throughout your speech to aid in audience understanding. Triads are very powerful for confirming or for crafting your message. They first allow you to express concepts more completely. Secondly, they help you emphasize your points. And third, they make your message more memorable. Whether it's 3 points, 3 similar sounding words, or 3 adjectives, use the power of 3 often. A good, well-placed pause lets your audience laugh, ruminate, and recall. Let's see how it works. When was the last time that you wrote a pause into your speech? A play on words, this ohm is here as a reminder. A well-written, rehearsed, and memorized speech leaves no room for the nasty and other unintentional filler words to creep their way into our speeches. Let's meditate on that. As with all things Toastmasters, getting good at using words takes practice. We've covered a lot of ground in the last 6 minutes and 30 seconds. Are you convinced yet? Using these winning word ideas will lead to stunning speeches. Try one in your next speech. Your audience will thank you for it.
All right, I thought it'd be a good time for some audience participation. If any of you have any of your favorite vivid words, feel free to yell them out right now. There you go. Keep them coming. Understanding maybe some of you might not want to give away your vivid words because you want to keep them for your very own speech, right? All right, how's everyone doing so far? Right, you enjoying the lessons, all right? Great. Speaker number 4. Our speaker number 4 is Marshall Ennis. A Toastmaster since 1996. Number 5. Our speaker number 5 is Jeb Richard. Jeb Richard, Advanced Communicator Bronze, is an introvert who joined Toastmasters in 2008 in order to overcome his fear of speaking. He credits his exponential growth since joining this organization with his newfound ability to channel nervous energy into a positive motivational force. He's excited to share with us some of the lessons he's learned about transforming fear and anxiety into passion and excitement. Join me in welcoming Jeb to share his Pecha Kucha entitled Turning Nervousness into Positive Energy. Jeb Richard, Turning Nervousness into Positive Energy. Turning nervousness into positive energy. Jeb Richard.
If you had the opportunity to present a message to dozens or even hundreds of people, how would you respond? If you were handed a microphone and had a captivated audience just waiting to hear what you had to say, what would you be feeling? For many people, you'd be feeling overwhelming anxiety and fear. You might be wondering if experienced speakers, the kind who stand in front of an audience like this, still feel anxiety when they speak. The answer might not be what you want to hear. Yes, even advanced and experienced professional speakers still feel anxiety when they speak. Speakers' anxiety never fully goes away, but it can become more manageable. Feeling anxiety prior to and during a presentation is actually a good thing. So you should be happy about it. It means you care, and your audience can sense that. There are a variety of techniques I'm going to discuss in this presentation, which fall into 2 general strategies. The first strategy is to reduce your anxiety. It's impossible to manage your anxiety when it feels overwhelming. Reducing your anxiety to manageable levels can include getting some exercise and avoiding stimulants like coffee, but it also includes self-awareness. I'll discuss a few techniques any speaker can adopt to increase your confidence and reduce your anxiety. The second strategy involves utilizing your nervous energy as a fuel to propel your speaking to the next level. Research shows most people have an anxiety sweet spot where they have enough anxiety to feel alert and energized, but not enough to feel debilitated or overwhelmed. In this state, anxiety is an excellent motivator. Starting a speech is one of the most difficult parts for many speakers. By committing the first 3 lines to memory, you give yourself a familiar place to start your speech and build your confidence. You switch your mindset from one of potential panic to one of memory retrieval. Anxiety comes in waves, and becoming more mindful of your feelings is the first step to help yourself manage your anxiety so it doesn't negatively affect your performance. Stop resisting your anxiety and start accepting it. For most people, anxiety is inevitable, and the more you worry about it, the worse it gets. Many speakers believe that the key to being a great speaker is to memorize your entire speech, word for word. However, attempting to memorize an entire presentation can cause you unnecessary anxiety. You lose all your passion when you focus about remembering the words instead of your message. Don't trap yourself to a script, even if it is the most awesome script ever. Instead, think of your message as a story and focus on visualizing that story. Human beings process the world we experience in terms of stories. Think of your favorite childhood story. Could you tell your version of the story to someone? Probably. Have you memorized it? Probably not. Build rhythm into your speaking, and don't be afraid to repeat yourself. Speaking with rhythm not only helps you remember your speech, but it makes it more memorable for the audience. A big part of speaking with rhythm is using effective pauses. Composer Claude Debussy famously said, "Music is the silence between the notes." Control your breathing. By shifting your breathing rate and your pattern, you can stimulate the body's parasympathetic response, also called the relaxation response. Deep, slow, controlled breathing is not only calming, it helps your vocal quality and improves memory. Do you think anyone in this audience wants to see the performer fail? They came to watch a great performance. In large crowds, people don't engage in ordinary social behavior like smiling or nodding. This is called the bystander effect, but trust me, your audience wants you to succeed, whether they show it or not. Have you ever tried to calm yourself down when you're feeling anxiety? It doesn't usually work exceedingly well. Instead, try reframing your anxiety as excitement. Anxiety and excitement are both arousal emotions, and it's a lot easier to get from one to the other than go all the way to relaxation. So when you're on stage and you're feeling a little nervous, don't be afraid to jump up and shout, "I'm excited!" Okay, you might want to keep the whole jumping around on stage and screaming in your head. But the important thing is to remember that once you convince yourself you're excited, you change your perspective from a threat mindset to an opportunity mindset. Use the positive power of excitement to improve your speaking volume. When we're excited, we just naturally project our voice in a way that can improve our communication if we harness it correctly. Excitement also helps with our vocal variety. It's pretty difficult to speak with a monotone when you're excited. When giving a presentation or performance, you are in control. And one of the best ways to keep that control is to use the stage. When we explore a space, we project an image of confidence. Moving around the stage also helps keep your audience attention, giving you the opportunity to move closer to them at a crucial point. Another great way to use the stage is with a strong stance. And this little guy has the right idea, though maybe not the right stance. It's important to have a stance that communicates confidence. Use your excited energy to stand tall. You're a leader when you're up here, so stand like it. The best, most charismatic speakers know the importance of using hand gestures and body language. Data from TED Talks shows that their most popular speakers average twice as many hand gestures as their least popular speakers. Many speakers use subdued or muted gestures. Don't be afraid to be a little theatrical and exaggerate your emotions. Not all presentations are monologues. Many presentations within and outside the Toastmasters program are dialogues or facilitated discussions, or may include question and answer periods. Use your excited energy to really energize and electrify those conversations and improve the two-way dialogue. When you speak, your nervousness and vulnerability is a part of what makes you real and relatable. Vulnerability is how human beings build relationships, and to be an effective speaker, you need to be able to build a connection with your audience. There's a power to vulnerability. Embrace it by transforming your nervous energy into positive power. Thank you.
All right. I just have one thing to say to that. I'm just going to try. I'm excited! All right, we have our sixth speaker is Flo Sherpanese. Flo Sherpanese is an emerging speaker who is passionate about learning new things and cultivating excellence in others in her Toastmasters journey to the district stage in 2016 and in her professional life as a clinical educator and sales representative. She has learned that body language can either augment or detract from one's message. She truly believes that effective body language, like any skill, can be learned and as a result is accessible to everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me in welcoming Flo Sherpanese. Let's get physical. Let's get physical. Flo Sherpanese.
Thank you, Angie. One of my first Toastmaster speeches was a test speech, and I was absolutely terrified. By the time the Toastmaster introduced me, I knew this was it. There was no escape. Looking out over the sea of unfamiliar faces, I grew roots on stage. This way, I couldn't sway, spew, or swoon. My body told the audience how inexperienced and stressed I was. Body language is what my body is saying to you, and vice versa, either reinforcing our verbal messages, detracting, or even contradicting it. It's how our postures and gestures are perceived by the audience, whomever that might be. This presentation will explore the storytelling principle of showing, not telling. Specifically, characters, emotion, and progression. A common misperception about Toastmasters is that our words count for a fraction of our communication. There's a common misperception that communication skills only mean speaking skills. But those words are a fraction. In fact, over 50% of our total communication is body language. Olivia Newton-John sang, "Let's get physical, physical, let me hear your body." Woo! Our bodies speak volumes. If we leave body language to chance, we revert back to our evolutionary and instinctive postures in response to stress. When everyone's eyeballs are focused on us, we become shrinking violets, timid and small. Think of body language like a yellow highlighter. You wouldn't highlight the entire document. Instead, you'd highlight select words and phrases you want to emphasize and remember. Body language is that highlighter. So often in our speeches, we narrate. In narration, we tell the audience our story. Instead, showing, not telling, means reliving the experience. The audience can see the scene and feel the emotion. They're transformed from passive recipient to active participant. For example, in narration, my dad is a senior and a character. He often parents me with well-meaning insults. See how I've told you about my beloved dad? Now, I'm what's called a banana. Banana is slang for someone of Asian descent who's westernized. Now, if I were to show you my dad, it might look like this. By the way, he calls me Florence. Florence, you banana. Dad, calling someone a banana is a bit of a slur, don't you? Ha ha ha, I don't care, you banana. We all have parents. We love them dearly, but sometimes, the audience should get the gist of what we're saying through only body language. Let's apply that principle to the sentence about parents. We all have parents. But sometimes, did you get the gist? Body language can be used to show characters and emotion. Now, some might say, I'm not shamelessly slapstick. It's not my speaking style. And all I need to do is deliver this work presentation. Well, all these techniques can be dialed down for a work presentation or a more restrained speech. One way is to show progression, like an outline or a timeline. Points 1, 2, and 3, or past, present, and future, moving from speaker, stage right, to center, to stage left, appearing left to right to the audience, the same direction we read. Recently, I heard a presentation about the dangers in using plastic water bottles. The 3 points included, first, how the production of bottled water is a drain on our natural resources. How plastic byproducts are harmful to our health. And finally, how the use of plastic water bottles isn't sustainable. Did you see the progression of the 3 points presented? Body language gives the audience visual cues. It helps them by telling them, you're moving to the next point. Sometimes without overtly having to say so. Like a visual form of pacing, maintaining audience engagement and giving visual interest. Friends, fellow Toastmasters, we've just scratched the surface of body language. Showing, not telling, creates a more immersive experience and strengthens our connection with the audience. Our bodies speak volumes. What will you say?
Huge round of applause to our 6 speakers. I understand we're running short of time, so I'll let Joanne speak.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're just going to say thank you, and we're going to now do the exercise part of the program because you have just a couple of minutes to get over to the International Speech Contest. So please hurry, and I will present the thank you chocolate to our presenters.
Yeah. Thanks, Joanne. Thank you. Yeah, no worries. Please clap on your way out.